media and media freedom in our country. We certainly cannot afford a situation where the media or members of the media in our country are actually implicated in acts of wrongdoing perpetrated by agents of the state, because you and I are fully aware of the fact that the media holds the mirror, so to speak, in our society. And more often than not, we expect the media to report on happenings that take place in the administration of our public affairs, in this case, government. Now, if the very same media is implicated in wrongdoing perpetrated by some elements in government, then it creates a very, very serious constitutional dilemma for us as a society. So that is the context from where I was coming from in writing that article in the Mail and Guardian last Friday.
Now, obviously, some of these revelations, have been horrifying, and we've seen in the past and in the build-up as well, where when one looks at the current administration, even going back to 2007, where the ANC was adamant that South Africa needed a statutory mechanism that would regulate media, and we know that this created a lot of controversy with regard to this proposal. And over the years, we've seen a lot of this still come out in the open in terms of the media and where the ruling party, where the government's position is as far as the media goes.
Look, it is. I'm not sure if the debate has been concluded yet in terms of whether or not we do indeed require a statutory regulatory mechanism in the form of the Media Appeals Tribunal. What I think is important for me at this stage, at least, which is what I'm calling for in my article in the Mail and Guardian last week, is a simple fact that the media should hold itself to a set of standards, at least where ethics and professional standards are involved or are concerned, so that you avoid a situation where you give ammunition to government or you give ammunition to political parties to argue or to call for a stringent mechanism to regulate the media. Because once you go down that route, then you and I know where we come from prior to 1994, where the media in this country was subjected to a litany of laws that actually went against the free media in our society. Now, when the writers of our constitution in the early 90s decided on the current regime in terms of the media regulation, they were driven or they were mindful of the past that we came from as a society. Now, I don't really believe that we are in a situation where we want now to introduce stringent measures that were there before 1994, for instance. The challenge is for the media to set out clear standards, ethically speaking, that they can hold themselves to, so that then there is no argument calling for the stringent regulation of the media, such as we have, for instance, in other countries in the region, such as in Botswana, for instance, where they have something like the Media Practitioners Act, which requires, amongst others, that journalists should be registered. Now, once you have that kind of a dispensation, you are stepping on thin ice, so to speak.
Yes. Now, also, Fidel, what's important to understand, and against what you're talking about, is it's about media integrity, and it is about safeguarding media integrity. And like we see in other areas, for instance, and this article speaks about judges, about parliamentarians to declare their interests as far as the media is concerned, as far as journalists are concerned. They wield a lot of power. They shape minds, they shape thoughts of people, they shape reactions of people to many issues that we as in the media would report on. Now, this obviously is important, because at the end of the day, if the media comes under scrutiny, if it comes under the spotlight, it does obviously trigger off a lot of suspicion as far as journalists and the media go in general.
Certainly, integrity goes to the heart of it. Once you have sections of the media implicated in wrongdoing, like I said in the beginning of this interview, it opens up the entire institution of the media to unnecessary attacks What I take courage in or take solace in is the fact that I think somewhere in April, I'm understanding that the South African National Editors Forum, SANEF, that will be hosting an ethics conference, which, in my view, it's a very, very necessary step in the direction of ensuring that, as far as it is possible, we root out the wrongdoers in the media space. Because if you have just one journalist who is tainted in the media fraternity, that is enough to give ammunition to certain sections in our society to call for a stringent regulation of the media. And as I'm arguing in the article, I don't really believe that we're at that stage at this moment where we can say all is lost in terms of the media integrity in our society. There are indeed certain loopholes that I strongly believe need to be looked at, and they need to be tightened so that we can close the door to elements who come into the profession and do things that are not professional or are not actually good in as far as enhancing the reputation and the integrity of the institution is concerned.
Yes, and just obviously, finally, in terms of what came out at the Zondo Commission, there is a lot of food for thought. There is a lot of lessons that we need to obviously take as far as the media is concerned. And the key and critical issue at this point in time is to maintain that integrity as far as the media is concerned, but also at the same time, the need for us to move forward as a media and to look at the needs of the country first, to look at the needs of people, and the question of objective of being objective is paramount at this point in time, Fidel.
Very, very paramount. I mean, I cannot emphasize the importance of that. Objective reporting, but media cannot objectively report when it itself or members of it are actually implicated in acts of wrongdoing. What I think needs to happen is the media needs to sit back and really identify those specific loopholes that are there in terms of the current regulatory mechanism and find ways of tightening those loopholes and ensuring that as we move forward into the future, we do so mindful of the past that we come from, but also the kind of future dispensation that we all want for our media, because certainly I don't really think it will be in the interest of our democracy if we may the institution of the media in our society. But the media has to play a very, very significant part in ensuring that indeed does not happen. And one way of doing it is holding itself to high ethical standards.
Well, Fidel, thank you very much for that and for your time with us this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure engaging with you on this topic. All the best to you. Take care.
Salam. Thank you very much.
Fidel Hadebe with us this morning, which brings us to the end of the show this morning of News and Views. Once again, an absolute pleasure being in your company on this Monday morning. So from all of us, until we meet tomorrow, same time, same place, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from